and you've got blessings. There you go. I feel like you will just get this kind of aha moment in the month of August, going into September, where you're just going to understand that you've always been guided. You know, that Five of Cups that we spoke quite a bit about, that sense of disappointment. You are going to understand why that door did not open for you, because something else had to open up for you. So that Hi Aries, welcome to your money and career reading for the month of August 2023. I hope all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to take a look at your past, present and future energies when it comes to your work life, your professional sector. Let's see what messages the universe has for you, what guidance your spirit team has for you. So stick with me till the end, Aries, lots coming in. So I'm going to just dive right in and look at what has been energy from the recent past when it comes to money and career. So these could be energies that have already receded from your life or are just on their way out, and setting the stage for what's to come in for the month of August. So this is just, helping us build some context to your money and career sector. 3 cards, please, for the Aries collective for money and career, recent past. The 3 of Wands, okay. We've got the 8 of Pentacles, very work-oriented kind of card. The 8 of Swords, and I've got the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So some of you, I feel, have really been focused on working with whatever constraints have been or what constraints have shown up in your money and career sector. Some of you might be a little bit tight on money and you're trying to figure out how to be more resourceful and more creative about how you extend your limited resources. I do think that a lot of you have been waiting for your ships to come in. That's how we call this card, the 3 of Wands, where you've put in the work and now you're waiting for the results. You're waiting for, you to get your due. Like maybe you work in a job and you've been working really hard and you've been waiting for that promotion, you've been waiting for that pay raise. So it's a little bit of that energy, like you're waiting for things to come in. I do have the 8 of Pentacles. A lot of you have been working super hard. Like, this is more like burning that midnight oil and like really, really focusing on your money and career sector. You've also been anxious, Aries, and I'm really sorry to see this, but I think you've been anxious because I feel you've been putting in so much effort, but somehow the output or the reward doesn't seem fair, doesn't seem equivalent to the work that you've put in, or at least a lot of you are showing me that you're not quite happy with the output. You've been putting in a lot of effort, a lot of input, but you're not happy with the output. Okay, I'm just going to pull a clarifier. I usually don't do this, but I want to get a clarifier on the 8 of Swords. What is this 8 of Swords in the recent past? What are you anxious about? The Hanged Man. Yeah, so I think something has taken longer, or something is still a little bit stuck. It feels slightly stagnant kind of energy. You've been pushing, you've been working super hard, Aries, but I feel you think that you've just been kind of, put on hold either by your company or your business or your partners or your colleagues, where you haven't gotten your due and justice has not been served in a certain work setup. What are you waiting for in the 3 of Wands? Let's see. Page of Pentacles. You're waiting for some news, you're waiting for some communication, you're waiting for good news. Maybe some of you work in a very international capacity, so maybe you travel for work, or I'm getting a very the energy that I'm getting is like somebody like shipping goods and waiting for goods to come back. Like maybe you work in that sort of a space and you're waiting for your shipment to come in because that's when you can make your money. But I think that you've been really hopeful and you really want something to get moving. Yeah, that's the best way to describe what I'm feeling right now. You're feeling like you're stuck and you just need the energy to open up so you can get moving. So what welcomes you into August? What energy welcomes you into August when it comes to your money and career sector? Emperor, nice. Bossing up, leveling up. This is your energy, Aries. So you're showing up very strong in your own reading, which is always a good sign, which always means that, the universe has a special message for you in this reading. So I'm really happy that you're here watching this. The Emperor. Okay, let me get 2 more before I give you the messages. We've got the 5 of Cups. And we've got the Chariot. Really cool. You're pulling all these big energy, big arcana cards. There's something about travel for sure, something about receiving money from overseas. Maybe you work in a consulting fashion and like your clients still have to pay you for something. I don't know, I'm getting a very specific message. It won't resonate with everyone. What's bringing you into August is a feeling of, or what you're going to experience throughout August is a feeling of, I'm getting that a lot of you feel that you're a little bit overqualified for what you do, that you have all the skills, to actually kind of run this place. Some of you, if you work in a job, I feel that you think that you're overqualified than even your manager, but you've been shortchanged. Maybe it was in the way that the offer was presented to you when you joined this company, and you really feel like they didn't give you your due. Like you're not at the right level, right designation, or I'm connecting with an Aries energy which feels very confident about what they bring to the table, but somehow the environment around them has made them very disappointed. So this guy on this card is very remorseful over the cups that have spilled over. But when we get the Five of Cups, we always like to remind ourselves that there are these two cups. If only he would turn around, there are these two cups right behind him that are still upright, that are still standing. So, he could still. So what I want you to think about is, even though, firstly, I'm really sorry. I empathize if you feel shortchanged, or like you've been passed over for a promotion or a big pay raise or something, right? Or a relocated move or something of that sort. But I want you to notice, and I said this to, I just did the Pisces reading, I said it to them as well, that you have to remember that rejection is the universe's protection. Something did not work out because something much better had to come in store for you with this Chariot, because this is the card of success. This is the card of momentum, moving forward, speed. So you know how in the recent past you were showing me the Three of Wands, that you've been waiting. I do see momentum picking up. I do see speed coming into the situation. So whatever you've been waiting for, I think starts to come in. And only when this Chariot starts to bring in the news that you've been waiting for, or the output that you've been waiting for, will you understand why the universe had to take away like whatever was in these three cups that you were very dejected and disappointed about. But actually it's in your own best interest that happened. Because Aries, I mean, you're a very powerful sign. You're ruled by this very powerful Mars, Wands kind of energy, a lot of fire. So it's very important for you to, in the month of August, recognize that whatever you're feeling intuitively about your powers, about your skill set, it's all true, it's all accurate, it's all absolutely on point. But sometimes the universe has to redirect us and reorient us back onto our destined path. And the method that it might take might feel a little bit like jarring, or you might feel very disappointed about something that didn't work out in your favor. But if you can trust the cards, if you can trust the messages that your spirit team is giving you, it is all in your best interest. It's all in your highest, greatest good, that some door had to be closed so that another better, bigger, grander, more amazing, more abundant door had to open for you. So that's your first key message, I think, for the month of August, that rejection is the universe's protection, because you're being redirected back onto your destined path. Actually, before I go into the future energies, let me see. That's interesting. I haven't been pulling clarifiers in some of the other signs readings, but they're telling me to clarify the Five of Cups. So let's do that. What's the Five of Cups? The world. Some cycle has come to a close, or some of you unfortunately might have lost a job, or you thought you were very close to getting something, but right at the end moment, something didn't pan out the way you expected it to. And that has left you feeling like really disappointed. And maybe you've been trying for a really long time. Maybe you've been unemployed and you've been interviewing aggressively. And anytime you get super close to getting it, something happens, there's a spanner in the works, and then, it doesn't work out. Again, I want you to remember that it's a redirection, because, sometimes, and I know this, from my own life as well. I think when you're trying so hard to push against something, and you've done everything possible, you've gotten advice, you've talked to all the experts, they're telling you do this, do that, you've done everything under the sun, right? But it still doesn't work out. I think in those moments, it's always like a little bit of a tough lesson to learn, and it's not easy to go through that experience. But those are the moments where I feel I have deepened my faith, because I've realized that at some point, we have to surrender. And I know a lot of people might not resonate with this kind of philosophy, but I'm just sharing how I have worked through some of these difficult moments. And even my money and career sector, or my personal life, I think it's just to surrender to a force, to a faith, whatever you want to call it, whatever you consider holy or sacred, or whatever you consider a little bit larger than yourself. You don't have to believe in God, you don't have to believe in religion. Whatever you believe in, whether you believe in your own higher potential, your own future self, believe in that. If you believe in God, great. If you believe in like religion, whatever else, the universe, faith, power, all of that. So in those moments where I've pushed and pushed and pushed and tried everything under the sun, and it still hasn't happened, it's not been easy, but then you just kind of release it. You release it to the universe, and you're like, universe, you know this is what I want. I've tried my best, and now I hand this request over to you. And whatever is aligned with my highest, greatest potential, that's the outcome that'll show up. It is super hard to do. I know, easier said than done, because you're so attached to the outcome. But the minute you surrender your attachment to the outcome and you're doing the work, because that's, what I think our job really is in this lifetime, to do the work. You're showing up in your highest, greatest potential. You're doing the things that you are guided to do. Then release that attachment to the outcome, because you would be surprised what the universe throws back at you could be 10 times better than what you were pushing and pushing and pushing for. And I have evidence of that in my own life, where I've been knocking on a particular door for years, sometimes for months, like, come on, why is this not happening for me? And then suddenly the door that did open, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that that door that I'd been knocking on for years did not open for me, because this door is so aligned to my inner path. It's so aligned to my purpose. So try and sort of ruminate over that. I know it's not a philosophy, because I know you're very burdened with work, money. I think some of you have a lot of either financial pressures, or a lot of people depend on you, your caregivers, like you look after your family financially, emotionally, physically. And it's taking a toll on you, Aries. So there's also a bit of a self-care message here to really look after yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. People say this all the time, but we rarely practice it. But it is such an easy and a simple philosophy. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you're feeling completely depleted, like everything that you had to give, you've given, let's say, to this particular situation, or I'm also seeing the death and rebirth card. So you are getting ready for a major rebirth, but you cannot pour from an empty cup, Aries. So remember that this is where you're pouring from. If you're pouring from these 3 cups, you can only imagine what energy will bounce back to you. But if you start to think about these 2 cups that are still upright and what lies within them, and you would know what lies within them, it'll be a step in your highest, greatest potential path, is what they want me to tell you. Very powerful, Aries, but very tough indeed. And also we are in Venus retrograde. Some of the planets are going to retrograde. I just think this is a time to reassess, reevaluate, and really think, and maybe journal if that helps you, talk to a friend if that helps you, about how hard you pushed for something. And if it hasn't worked out, try and get other people's perspective on that. Like, talk to a few people that have you ever pushed for something so hard in your life and it didn't work out. Looking back at that time, what do you think of it? You'll be surprised how many people tell you that actually, I'm so glad that didn't work out, even though I wanted, every cell in my body wanted that, because something way better emerged for me. So think about that, Aries. Let's look at what's energy coming in the near future. So this is more towards the end of August, early September. What's coming in for Aries? The 6 of Swords, the King of Wands. So yeah, bossing up and moving towards transitioning from this place of 5s. Like 5s are kind of like turning points in the tarot. So you were here, right, at the 5 of Cups, kind of hurt, upset over what hasn't worked out. You've kind of been up in your head with the 8 of Swords that you showed me in the recent past. Now you start to transition away from all of that and move towards a calmer, more peaceful time, because the 6 of Swords is always about feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you're in a state of transition, but it's also a very hopeful energy, because the worst is kind of behind you. You're moving forward from the conflict in your life, which is the 5 of Swords, and you're moving towards calmer waters. Is typically how this card is decoded, like calmer waters, moving towards calmer waters. And also there's help, like somebody is helping you cross over to the shore. So think about that. Have you capitalized enough on your network, on your professional network? Like, people can help you get to the other side. Like, even right now, I gave you that message that talk to people who've been through a similar journey. They tried really hard, but they didn't get it. Talk to them about how that made them feel. And in hindsight, what do they think about that? Something to think about that. King of Wands, this is kind of like your energy, Aries. I think you're really stepping into your power in the near future because you've been like the wounded warrior is what I'm hearing. You rise back up in the month of August. Like you get the support from people, you have conversations, you start to maybe go deeper in your spirituality and your faith in believing in the universe, something bigger than yourself, and that's what unlocks this whole piece for you. And the thing with us is, and something that I've also really been trying to experiment with in my own life, is it's really all about our thoughts. Like our brain, our mind is such a powerful organ, and the minute we orient our thoughts, right, we're actually bigger than anything, because ultimately what our feelings, what our thoughts, it's our response to the stimuli in our world, right? And the minute you say to yourself that I will decide how I feel, I will decide how I will react to situations in my life, who's in power? You are, right? Then the world, other people, circumstances, suddenly you've minimized their impact on your mood, on your well-being, on how you show up on an everyday basis. I know what I'm saying is super hard to do, and that's why I said I'm also like trying and experimenting with this philosophy in my life. But I think it's all about setting an intention. Like a lot of people will tell you this, a lot of spiritual gurus or wellness coaches will tell you that first thing in the morning, set an intention that today I'm going to meet anything that comes my way with grace. I'm just giving you an example, right? And then before you know it, you could be up against some really challenging conversations at work or conversations in your family life. And suddenly you're like, hey, I promised myself that I'm going to show up today in a state of grace. And you'd be surprised just setting that intention, or when being triggered in a challenging situation, the minute you remind yourself that I had promised myself to show up in a way of grace, what that does to you. It just brings on like this calming impact to your behavior, to your belief system, to your body, the energy in your body, right? So try that, Aries, try that. I think try to set intentions at the beginning of each day. And if you're really oscillating in this Eight of Swords, and trust me, I'm a Scorpio sun, so we know this energy really well. Scorpios overthink, triple think, double think, like a quadruple think, whatever. Like, we will go down that spiral and that rabbit hole, and for days, sometimes months, sometimes years, so I know this energy really well. So I'm right there with you, Aries. But the way to snap out of the Eight of Swords is to recognize that, you are not trapped. You can simply open up your arms and release yourself from these ties, right? Because she's honestly, the swords are around her, not in front of her. She can easily escape the situation if she wants to, but the caveat is if she wants to. So it's all about setting the intentions and putting your wishes out there in the universe, that what is it that I'm going to stand for? What is it that I'm not going to stand for? And then being ruthless about the kind of life that you want to build for yourself. I think you go through this transformative journey in the month of August, and you're showing up then at the bottom of the deck with Scorpio energy, which is the King of Cups. The King of Cups is, and Scorpio energy, by the way, is very transformative. Like we did see the death rebirth card at some point in your reading. So it's about closing out cycles to make room, firstly, for new cycles. So it's not simply you jump from closing out one cycle to a new cycle. You first clear out, you take all the lessons, you take all the experiences from your previous cycle, you have a little bit of a meaning making and processing time, and that's when you make the space for a new cycle to come in. I think how you're going to feel towards the end of August, early September is amazing. You're going to feel like you've mastered your heart and your mind. And that is the biggest unlock that you can do for yourself, Aries. Like, it doesn't matter what your 3D world throws up for you and what it manifests for you. And obviously, we all want to live a comfortable life, our bills to be paid, our families to be looked after. Of course, not denying that. But don't you think, and let me know in the comment section, don't you think like something bigger than that is also how you feel in your body, how you feel in your mind, in your heart every day? And I think you're learning such a key ingredient to your happiness, to your fulfillment, to your well-being in the month of August, that this is almost like one of those like core life secrets. So the minute you hack this, I don't think like the physical representation of anything would really faze you. So think about that, Aries. I'm going to close out your reading with an oracle card from the Sacred Destiny deck. I've loved this reading for you. You've actually really inspired me. Thank you. Like, your energy has inspired me to think about some of these own things, some of these things in my own life, right? That where am I letting my environment take power over me while it should be the other way around? Ultimately, I am the creator, right? I am the master of my thoughts, of my emotions. So why am I letting the environment be bigger than me? I am my environment. Think about that, Aries. Think about that. Look at that. And you've got blessings. There you go. I feel like you will just get this kind of aha moment in the month of August, going into September, where you're just going to understand that you've always been guided. You know, that Five of Cups that we spoke quite a bit about, that sense of disappointment. You are going to understand why that door did not open for you, because something else had to open up for you. So that's message number one. Also, I think you realize that the universe is so abundant and you don't have to get stuck on these 3 cups that spilt over, because you are ultimately the emperor. You are the king of the wands. You know, you can manifest all the victory and success in the 3D world that you set your mind and heart to. So think about that, Aries. A big month, I would say. Big reflective energy, big contemplative energy. I love this for you, Aries. I wish you all the best. If this video helped, please do hit that like button for me and subscribe to my channel. Take care. Bye-bye.